So now our shells have been soaking overnight in some diluted bleach water. And I'm just going to take a paper towel. You can use a regular towel or a paper towel. I just lay it out on the counter, and then I have a small one here for the teeny tinies. And the teeny tinies are already in a strainer. So all I have to do is rinse them out. So I'm just going to go ahead and rinse all the tinies. Rinse them out. Try to get some of that bleach off. And then when I'm done, give it a little shake. And I'm just going to go ahead and dump it on the small paper towel because I want to keep all of my teeny tiny shells separate from the big ones. So I'm going to take all of these off, and then I go ahead and I inspect. You got to inspect because there's going to be shells that stick to the strainer, and you want to make sure that you get all of them out. You don't want to leave any in there. So I'm just going to get the rest of these out of the strainer. Sometimes you'll have little pieces of broken shell that didn't get through the shell bag, but it's not really whole shells that you want to keep. And then I just spread out the tinies so they can dry. And then I come back and I'm going to start rinsing off the larger shells. So you might want to wear a glove for this if you are sensitive to Clorox. I don't, just because I'm not sensitive to it. So put a little bit of water, and it's okay if your water goes into your pan because you're going to be diluting it anyway. I like to dump just a little bit of the top of the water out. Make sure that you don't have any little floating shells though. So we're just going to try to dump some of that water out. And then we'll just let it refill. I'm going to take handfuls of shells and put them in the strainer. And I'm going for the big shells. I'm not really worried about the small shells right now. I'm just trying to get the larger shells. And I'm just going to go ahead and rinse them off. And sometimes with the conchs, I like to fill them with water and give them a good shake before I let them dry because they tend to hide some sand in there, and you want to make sure that you don't have sand all over your bowl or whatever you decide to display your shells in. So we're getting down to the smaller shells now. These are kind of the medium-sized shells and the minis that I like to call the minis. They're not really tinies. There's a little tulip and a little drill. So they're not really tinies, but they're minis. They're small shells. So I want to make sure that they get a good rinse, and then I just put them on the towel to dry. The tinies are going to remain in the bottom of the strainer. And I always use the strainer because you want to make sure that nothing that you drop into the sink or back into your pan, you want to make sure that nothing is going to go through those little holes and into your sink and down the drain. So that's really, really important. So I only have a few more shells in here before I get to the teeny tinies. So I'm just going to get out the rest of the small shells and put them in here. and give them one final little rinse. And as I take out the big shells and put them on this side, I'm gonna start to look for the teenies, the tinies, and put them on the separate cloth. You can use a regular towel or paper towels, napkins, anything you want. So I'm just kind of going through, and when I see something that I consider tinies, like these, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop them down. It just makes it easier for me to keep track of them. I'll put them in a separate little container to take them home, and that way I don't lose them amongst all of the larger shells. So the big shells, the medium shells, and the minis are all gonna go here. We'll throw that with the tinies. And then the tinies are gonna go in a container all by themselves. So let me just finish up here. And I will say too, because people have asked me, I'm kind of particular with my tinies collection, but I do keep all of my Wentel traps together. So here's a really pretty large sized Wentel trap. So that's gonna actually go with the tinies because I do like to keep them all together. So I'm getting down to just tinies in here. And it's gonna be very easy for me when I'm done to just take all of these tinies and go ahead and place them onto their own little towel for drying. So the very last step is gonna be all of this stuff we have at the bottom. So even though I did a really good rinse at the beach with my shells in the shell bag, and I did another really good rinse when I got back from the beach, there is still sand, as you'll be able to see in a second, in the pan here. You'll be able to see that there is sand, and you don't want to put all that sand down your drain. So I'm literally just going to hand pick out the rest of the shells now that I've dumped most of the water out, and I'm just going to put them in the strainer. And this is where you're going to find all of those teeny tiny little shells, and that is why this makes it so much easier when you get home if you have a shell bag that is mesh, like the ones I sell, that you can do a rinse before you leave the beach and again when you get home, because this is very easy for me to just find all of those little teeny tiny shells, no matter how small they are, and put them into the strainer without having to look too hard, without having layers and layers of sand to sift through. And you do not want all that sand to go down your drain and into your pipes in your house. That is not good. Your plumber will not, well, your plumber will love you because you're going to be calling him a lot to come fix it, but you do not want all that sand down your drain. And we actually have an outdoor shell cleaning sink that I sometimes use, but I actually prefer to do it inside with a nice countertop that I can lay everything out and I can see what I'm doing. So I have just about all of my small teeny shells, and I'm just checking to make sure I'm not missing any teeny tiny little ones in this tray. I don't see that I am. Oops, there's a little Wentel trap right there rolling around. And I think that that's it. I think that's the last one. So I'm gonna take this tray outside and dump it out outside. So we're gonna put that down because you definitely do not want to have the sand down the drain. And then you're gonna go ahead and turn your sink back on. One final rinse. I like to keep my hand underneath just so nothing slips through. And if there's any larger shells left over, you guys know where those go. I put those on the bigger towel, and the tinies go onto the tiny towel. Just like that. And then I'll show you guys, I'll give you guys a look of all the teeny tinies that I found on my beach walk yesterday that you joined me for. And you'll be able to see just how teeny tiny they are and that they all made it back safe and sound in my shell bag. So don't go away, I'll be right back. All right, everyone, so now we have all of our shells laid out on the paper towel. They are drying. We have our larger shells, like our fighting conchs and our big cockles and our lightning whelks, and then we have our medium shells, which are going to be our full-size tulips and our scallops and our juvenile fighting conchs. And then we have our, what I like to call minis, which is just the miniature version, the little juvenile shark eye, and there's a little top here. We have some little tulips, little mini tulips, aren't they so cute? And we have a little drill. So these are all, you know, what I would consider minis or smalls. And then we have a whole other level. So we come over here to the teeny tinies. And so I'm going to be using a pen to kind of point and show you guys just how small some of these shells are. So I'm going to give you guys a close-up view so you guys can see how teeny small. Can you guys see this little tiny limpet right here? Look how small it is. It's so tiny. Move this little conch out of the way. Look how cute that little limpet is right here. And we've got little teeny lightning whelks. Look at this little lightning whelk with its little stripes. And we've got a ton of Wentel traps, which you guys know because I found so many of them. Look how cute this one is right here. Look how tiny. Look at this one. Look how teeny tiny it is. And look at this little whelk right here. It doesn't even have stripes yet. Can you see this little whelk right here? Oops, he flipped over. Let's see if I can get him up right. Look how cute. And I pulled aside a couple favorites for you guys to see. One of them is this teeny tiny tulip. Look how cute the little tulip is, the little orange tulip. I love this. It's either a shark eye or a Gaudinautica moon snail, but I'm not really sure. It has no color to it. And I've never seen one with no color, so it's absolutely beautiful. Another little Wentel trap here, teeny tiny. There's a little, look how cute this one is, you guys. Pear whelk. Look how small. I love this shell. Look how pretty. Look how perfect this one is. Let me see if I can pick this one up to show you because it's just absolutely perfect. Look how perfect. That point, it's just absolutely beautiful with the color. Let's see what else we've got. Here's another limpet. Look at the color on this one. It looks like it's painted with purple and a blue tip. Can you guys see that? Look how pretty. Looks like I used a marker on it, but I didn't. That's the way I found it. That one is beautiful. Here's another little whelk with its little stripes. And here's another one as well. So all of these shells came back safe and sound in my shell bag, along with all of the large cousins and relatives over here. So you guys can see just how small some of these shells are. I mean, they're smaller than the point on my pen. They are teeny, and I love them, as you all know. Right here is a little dove. You guys might recognize this as being the inside of a sand dollar. That actually made it back in my bag too. These are actually larger. I know they look so big right now, don't they? They look huge, but look how small they are. Look how small, even though they look ginormous next to the even teenier ones. Look at this. Here's a drill, and there's a little baby whelk in the drill. Do you see that? That's how small that little whelk is it got like lodged in there during cleaning. Here's a teeny tiny little button shell. Super teeny, super cute. Let me focus, focus, focus. Here's another absolutely adorable baby. Here it is next to its older cousins. Let me turn him around so you can see. Next to his two older cousins, a little tiny fighting conch. I mean, look how tiny these shells are. I wonder if my camera will even zoom in that close. Look how tiny they are. So I hope you guys are getting a good view of these teeny tiny shells that all made it back in my shell bag. I do love this little limpet though. I mean, here, I'll put it next to the other limpet so you guys can see the different sizes. Here you go. So this is a small, like a mini, and that's like a super mini, and that's like a super duper duper teeny tiny. Perfect. How cute. And I love the little different colors too. So these are all of the teeny tiny minis. And some of you are probably now understanding why I have such a love and obsession for teeny tiny little shells. Look at this little turbo here too. Can you see this one? How cute is the little turbo? Oh, that one's pretty too. I just absolutely love them. Little Wentel traps. Everybody loves Wentel traps, right? Ooh, look at this little one hiding under there. How pretty is that? Beautiful. And let's see, here's another cousin. Let's put the cousins together. I like doing that. Let's put the cousins over here so you guys can see a normal size auger. Normal sized, small, teeny tinies. Teeny tiny. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys now know why I am so obsessed with teeny tiny little shells and finding them. If you are looking for a shell bag to keep your shells safe, you can go to my website and purchase one. You will not be disappointed. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.